Boom! What's good, YouTube? I'm in my office right now. It's kind of cold here in Canada. That's why I have this furry jacket. So this style of video is going to be slightly different, and this is going to be kind of in response to, okay, so I made a video about BECKERTIME. Okay, so I'm not bashing BECKERTIME. I'm talking about my eBay videos on how to buy a Rolex, what not to look like, what to look for, what not to pull the trigger on, and kind of I wanted to help you guys on how to educate you guys on how to buy high end watches online, not just Rolexes, but in general watches. But the video I made prior to this was about BECKERTIME, my experience with them, the watch that I purchased, and since I made that video, I've gotten a lot of DMs from people asking me to look at this listing to see if it's legit and all that, which is great. I'm all for helping, and I've also gotten some comments from my viewers saying that they've stopped pulling the trigger on a watch after they watched my video. Again, I'm not shitting on BECKERTIME's hustle because they're a big company and they've got nice watches. But I'm just trying to educate people on how to buy watches, specifically Rolexes, how to buy them online and not get ripped off or gypped. And for this video, I'm actually going to be using an example that my viewer commented and sent me a link to. I'm just going to run through this listing, and I'm going to pinpoint exactly everything that's wrong with this Rolex. Or not wrong, but things you should know, and the things that the average buyer do not know. They may want a Rolex, but they don't really know what to look for. And I wanted to do it in real time, like scrolling through the actual listing, because I noticed when I read things online, if they post a link online or like a comment, there's a link. Like when you click it, it may work now, but like a year or two later, the link is gonna be gone, so no one knows what the fuck we were talking about before. So I wanted to make a video in real time, scroll through this listing and talk about it. So it's gonna be there forever. Okay, so this is the Rolex in question, and this is from the seller BECKERTIME. Again, they're not a bad seller. They have 100% positive feedback, and they got a shitload of feedback too. Okay, so the title reads, Men's Rolex Date Stainless Steel Watch, blah blah blah, silver diamond dial. So this has a diamond dial, as you can see right here. It's very similar to the one that I've purchased personally with BECKERTIME, except this is the 1500 model as shown right here. So this is a 34 millimeter watch. I had the 36 millimeter watch. So I'm just gonna so here's some of the pictures. Again, these are actually, I believe this is not the actual picture of the watch, because they have, BECKERTIME has many of these models always in stock. They're not gonna take specific pictures every single time. So this is probably like a stock photo they keep on hand. Keep that in mind. Again, a normal person would not know that. They probably think this is the real watch, the actual watch they're buying. So this specific one has a Jubilee style bracelet, silver dial. It's got the diamonds there. Looks good. And now let's scroll down to the description and see what it says. So it does say it's 34 millimeter. So it is a smaller size. For those of you that don't know Rolex sizes, they have 34, 36, and I believe those are it for the vintage style watches. Oh, I forgot to mention the price. So the price of this is $3,400 USD. Let's scroll down, and now we get to the good stuff. So here's the description, and for most people, they're not going to know what they're looking at. And when I first purchased from them, I also did not know what the fuck I was looking at. It sounds good the way they word it, but let's take a closer look. So it says, Rolex officially certified chronometer, whatever movement. So that's genuine. So that's a legit Rolex movement in this watch. So we're all good. Now we're going to look at the dial. And this is where the first issue comes in. Rolex silver dial has been professionally refinished. When you hear the word refinished, it usually means it's not original. Um, I mean, it can stand for a lot of things. It could be the original one, and then they just redid it, recolored it, blah blah blah. But even then, it's an altered dial. But refinished can also mean it's not the original one that came with this watch. It could have been it can, and I believe it's an aftermarket dial that says Rolex on it, and it's customized with 10 custom added genuine diamonds, as you could see from the pictures. And what this means is when it says 10 custom added, that's not the original diamonds that came from the factory. I'm not. I mean, to a Rolex person, it's going to be obvious that a stainless steel Rolex did not come with factory diamonds, but a lot of people won't know this. So, like, I'm going to treat everybody like this is the first Rolex that they are purchasing. And so that's the first issue. Not the original dial, or at the very least, it's a refinished dial, and not the original diamonds. Just aftermarket diamonds that you can purchase cheap from anywhere, and they stuck it on the dial. Next thing, bezel, Rolex stainless steel smooth finish dome bezel. I believe that's genuine Rolex. No issue there. Crystal. So the next issue, so this is the second issue that we're having. It says it has an aftermarket acrylic crystal. Aftermarket, meaning not original. So you do not have the original crystal here. Case, Rolex stainless steel case. We all good. And then the biggest issue with this seller that I see is the band or the bracelet. So I'm going to read this out. Stainless steel Jubilee style bracelet with plain, no Rolex markings clasp. Not rated by Rolex. It is custom aftermarket bracelet. And this significantly decreases the worth of this piece. It's not a real Rolex style. I mean, it is a Rolex style bracelet, but it's not a genuine Rolex bracelet. I've had this before from BECKERTIME, and my bracelet went to shit. The pins started falling out of nowhere, and I was losing links. It was not a good experience. So again, they have this watch listed at $3,400. I would say this watch is absolutely not worth $3,400. Again, this is my own opinion. I'm not shitting on BECKERTIME, but I would not pay $3,400 for this. I've purchased similar models like this from BECKERTIME for about $1,500 US. That's what I would pay for it, and you might be wondering why so low. We're gonna go back to the watch features or the description. I'm gonna start with the main concern, which is the band. The band is not original Rolex, and okay, you may be wondering why do they have an aftermarket band? Why do they have an aftermarket dial? Why do they have an aftermarket crystal? There's going to be lots of different reasons, but from a seller's standpoint, what they can do is they may have had this watch completely whole and like with all the original genuine Rolex parts, but they can separate it and sell it separately, thus making a secondary profit. So this does not have a genuine Rolex band, and I did a quick search on how much Rolex bracelets go for, and I'm gonna show you guys right now. So this is just a quick little search that I did. The regular Rolex bands. So this is an Oyster one, so it's slightly different than the Jubilee style they have, but either or. The bracelet itself is around $1,000. I've looked at a few different listings as well. They're all around $1,000. So when BECKERTIME took the bracelet off, they most likely are reselling the real original bracelet for $1,000 somewhere else, but while keeping this price the same. They did not decrease this price at all. Same with the dial, the refinished dial, the aftermarket dial, whatever the fuck they use. If you do a quick search, which I did, you can find Rolex dials normally sell for around, I'll say, $200 to $400. Again, that's $200 to $400. That was not decreased from their price. Their price is $3,400. It is not worth that. And these are the things you need to be looking at. And to put it into perspective, the one I purchased, which was a botched purchase from my end, it had a real movement from Rolex. Dial was also aftermarket, worth shit. Bezel, mine was aftermarket. My crystal was aftermarket. Case was original, and the band was aftermarket. So you can imagine when I tried to resell this thing, it was hard as hell because everybody was like, well, there's so many aftermarket parts. And I'm not going to be a douche and not disclose all these aftermarket parts to my potential customers. So I told them all, and they would all give me lowball offers, which is justified because I did not have any of the aftermarket parts. So if you do end up buying a watch like this, I would suggest buying it for a better price and just wearing the shit out of it and not expect to be able to resell it for much, because it is not worth much at all. So these are the main key points to look for when you're purchasing a watch online, sight unseen. Even if you're purchasing it from a pawn shop locally, you're gonna want to ask them, is the band original? Is the movement original? Is there any aftermarket parts on this watch? Any type of aftermarket parts on a Rolex is gonna decrease its value tremendously. And a band or a bracelet is a huge part of a watch. So I hope this video helped you guys, and if you are looking to purchase from BECKERTIME, don't get me wrong, they do have listings where it's all original Rolex, or at least like 90% Rolex, and this is just one that my viewers sent me, and I thought I would do a quick look over. And if you guys are interested in this style of video, send me links to watches you're thinking of buying, and I will take a look at it. I've been buying Rolexes and Omegas and other high-end watches for over 10 years, a decade. So I'm very careful of how I look for my watches, what to do when I see aftermarket parts. And hopefully this video helped all y'all. Peace. Peace.